Good afternoon to everyone. Good evening if you are in an evening part of the world, and good morning for those of you in Australia who happen to pop up to watch this in the middle of your night, I guess. Anyway, hi, I am Pearl Manhattan. This is Express Yourself Healing Through Art. We are on part 3 of Farmhouse decor on a Dollar Tree budget. This was born out of my desire to decorate my tiny little kitchen in farmhouse decor, which meant miniatures and using color and proportion to make a small kitchen look large. Today we are going to make a little recipe box. We are also going to make a little decorative container to hold all those little pieces of paper in the kitchen, like your manual for your appliances, your little recipe book that you like to keep an eye on, things like that. So, I hope you enjoyed today. Excuse me. Got a little bit of a cough. It's been a good week for me so far. Won't go into it too deep, but had to do some heavy-duty advocating for my son with regards to school, and I was right and got policy changed to work with my son. So I'm on a high, and I've kind of taken it easy this weekend, had a little bit of a rest. First things first, let me say thanks to Dean at theliveplace.com. Dean has listings of over 110 YouTube live streams a week that are all family friendly, and they're on so many different topics. Theme parks, such as Disney World, what's the other? Universal Studios, SeaWorld. We have people in RVs and travel that do a lot of live streams. Cooking. Today there is a cook-off, a meatloaf cook-off, proceeds benefiting Pete McDevitt. That's on Donna's channel, Cooking with Donna. Just any topic you would want, it is there on theliveplace.com. Be sure to check it out. Also, I'd like to announce my partner channel. Say hi to Cricket Fox. Cricket Fox right now is working on doing some podcasting and vlog work, and but we will be getting her online very soon. We're going to be having some collaborations in the future. Cricket's just a wonderful person, and we're having a lot of fun supporting each other and all this. So, moving forward, next week is going to be a really big show. I'm going to start publicizing about it tomorrow, probably. We are going to wrap up the farmhouse kitchen decor in my tiny kitchen. I'm going to bring back everything I've made this month for my tiny kitchen. And we're going to have a giveaway that I'll announce next week. And we will start transitioning into our next month's topic, which is coastal farmhouse in a tiny living room. I've got some wonderful, very low budget, simple, beautiful things to make to really bring that coastal feeling into my living room. We're going to make a window with a coastal wreath in it. We're going to make some lighthouses. We're going to do some things with glass vases and candle holders, all sorts of stuff. So this week, Dollar Tree, I didn't really find anything new this week at the Dollar Tree. However, I did go to Walmart, and granted, these things are inexpensive, but they're not Dollar Tree stuff. But I found that the higher quality, you get what you pay for, right? So I picked up some Waverly chalk paint. This is what all of the crafters I'm watching doing, farmhouse and coastal farmhouse, this is their go-to, is this Waverly chalk paint. It's a matte finish, no prep acrylic paint. in one coat, one and done. And I got it in agave and mineral. And the consistency of this, it's thicker than your regular acrylic paint. And I'll show you. It's got a thickness to it. But that also helps with the one and done. It's really heavy when you put the stirrer in it, and you see how it's really slow. It's got a very honey-like consistency. It's kind of thick, and it will hang on to things pretty well. So it's a little bit different than what you're used to if you're just used to acrylics. But I'm going to show you some nice things that it does. I painted a few things with it this week. I may do a tutorial on this later. But this is just one of the Dollar Tree trays. It's one of the shallow ones. You can see the shape of it here. And it's about 5 by 7 inches on the square part. And so what I did was I painted it with the Waverly Mineral. And then I found this in one of my scrapbooking packs that I just got. It's a hot buy from Michael's. And so I cut it out, and then I fussy cut along the edges and cut the paper off. I left the paper on the inside here, and then I cut around it. So the pattern kind of wraps around the tray. This was part of it. And then I went back in because I didn't quite get it to the edge on one side. There's a few imperfections. What I did was just dump Mod Podge in the tray. I bought a big thing of Mod Podge and coated it around. I missed the edge. So I went back in with this Waverly chalk paint and I kind of painted around the edges. I made it kind of messy in here and aged it a little bit. And so, but this is a cute little tray, and what I'm going to do is use some string, and I'll just hot glue it on the back and make a little hanger and hang it on my wall. This will be part of the hanging. I'm thinking about putting three of these trays together, but this is how this chalk paint dries. It dries, oh, I got blue paint on that side. I have to repaint it. My hands are blue. It's okay. But it dries with a very matte, kind of chalky finish. So, and let me show you something else I'm working on. With something else I bought. You notice this right here. I bought a pack of these. This was about $4. They're 45 in a pack at Walmart. Anna Isabel Sizik, I guess. I hope I did that right. Anna, welcome. I'm so glad to see you here. Welcome in. We're talking about farmhouse decor this week. This is part 3. But I picked these up at Walmart, 45 in a bag for about $3, which is a good deal. They are huge. We'll measure one out for you. They're about a little over an inch wide, and they're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inches long. And they're really nice for using as kind of lathe strips to hold things together, which you'll see in one of the crafts next month. But I thought I'd make a little picket fence and do something to it, make it a wall hanging type thing. And so all I did was cut down 2 of the sticks, and it's easy to cut them down. I take them and score them with a sharp knife, and then I take scissors, and you can just pop the stuff off. And then what I did on this for the painting treatment, I'm still working with these lights, folks, so bear with me. I painted it a reddish brown first, this acrylic here, and then I went over it with the agave chalk paint. And oh, that's why I've got paint everywhere. Let's do a little cleaning. And it came out with this really weathered kind of gray brown wood look, kind of beach wood, you know, wood that you find on the beach. It's silvery, you know. So, but let me show you how easy this cleans up too. Remember, this is my cutting mat, that plastic cutting mat from the Dollar Tree that I just put some poster board under. And we just take a baby wipe and wipe that up, and then looking for my paper towels, which I'm gonna need. I tend to lose things rather quickly in here. So we're just gonna, here we go. I got a little paper towel here I can use. And we'll just wipe that off. There we go. And see how easy that works. But onward to today. All right. What I've done so far, I went ahead and did part of this ahead of time so we could move through it because I only have an hour and I've got 2 projects for you. This box is, well, let's measure it and see. We're 1, 2, 3, 3.5. 1, 2, 3.5 by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 3 by 6 by, how tall is it? 3. Boxes from the Dollar Tree. It's one of the larger that they have, like the size. It's got the little holes. This is the same box I used to make my spice rack, which I will show y'all next week. And maybe I'll do a tutorial on that someday. And all I did was I painted it with the Waverly chalk paint. And then I went back while it was still kind of damp, actually, and I used this Waverly Wax. I'm not really used to using this kind of this wax stuff, so my learning curve, I'm going to be playing with this, and I'll tell you more about it next time. But I spread the wax on it when it was still kind of damp, and then I took a baby wipe and I used the baby wipe to scrape off some of the paint. Also, with the rough edges, I didn't pick up any sandpaper, so I pulled out a nail file that I had around, and I just went around the edges and scratched off some of that. And also, we're going to come up here and maybe take some paint off on the corners here. And just give it a little bit more weathered look. Just kind of scratch it up. We can even beat it up a little bit if we wanted to make some marks in it. We could use something metal and make some dents in it, marks in it. I mean, we don't want this to look absolutely perfect. And then I went into my clothespin bag. You can get a whole thing of clothespins for $1 at Dollar Tree. And so I took them and I clipped them onto one of these craft sticks and I painted them. And then with the Waverly chalk paint, I let it dry really, really good. You're supposed to let it cure for at least 8 hours, but it's dry to the touch in about an hour if you do a thin coat. And then I came back with my little nail file. And let's beat these up a little bit. Distress them with the little emery board. And actually this came in I got this from the Dollar Tree. It came in a manicure pack with a little pair of scissors and nail clippers and tweezers. And so I've taken to using it to distress these. And we'll hold this up in the camera. You can't see because the light's not up at the camera, but you see how I've just knocked some of the paint off of it, a little bit of the wood showing through. And then the next step to this wonderful project is these recipe cards that I found over in the kitchen section at Dollar Tree. Now, they're a little big for the box, a little long, but that's easily fixed. I went, and I'll use this one as a pattern, and I trimmed them down so they would fit. And so I'm going to line this one up. I've got a bunch of different kind here, but I'm going to line that one up and get my paper cutter. And I think I'll just use this paper cutter here. I got this neat little paper cutter in it so I can see where I need to line up. And so I'm just going to, let's say right about there. And then we'll come over to this side and do about the same. I'm doing about, oh gosh, how much is that? Maybe, I'm going to say it's a little less than 1/2 inch, I guess. And let's see if that does, if that makes it fit. Exactly. Okay, so that's the next thing, is trim down your cards. And then we're going to add a nifty little thing to this that's going to make it very useful. Now this is my front and this is my back. All I'm going to do is take my hot glue and I'm going to run it from, this is the clippy end of the clothespin, and you see that little wire there? And I'm going to run me a bead of glue all the way up the back side of this, like that. And then I'm going to take it and line up that little crease and put one on each side. And I'm just going to stick it there like that. See, it still opens. And we'll do this with the other one. I love hot glue, but do not stick your fingers in the hot glue. Hot glue is hot for a reason. Okay, and we'll just hold that on there, and I just eyeballed them on there. I didn't measure or mark or anything. There we go. And the reason we did that is now we can put our recipe cards into our box. Okay, and you go through and you find the recipe you want to use. You push on the clothespins and it holds it up there for you. While you're cooking, and then when you're done, release it from the clothespins and you can drop it back in your thing. You can make dividers for this. You can use index cards. You can use whatever size box you like. There you go. And when you're cooking, your recipes are up in the air. And when you're not using it, it's small enough it can fit on top of your fridge or in a cabinet or in a drawer even. And there you go. And that's our little farmhouse recipe box. Isn't that cute? All right, the next thing I'm going to show you, and let's see, I wonder, are we coming through all right? Sometimes when I don't get viewers, there we go. Just checking on the stream. There we go. And the stream looks good too, so good to hear it. The next thing, and we're going to talk about, all right, we all have those manuals for our appliances. We have important papers we want to keep in the kitchen, and they end up getting stuffed in a drawer or something like that. We're going to make a pretty container that coordinates with our kitchen out of this lovely box. This is a cereal box. It's a larger box, but you can use whatever size box you want. I chose this one because most of my papers are 8.5 by 11. And if you look, this one is 12 by about 9. So we're going to use the width of it, but we're not going to cut it as tall. So I'm going to cut these top flaps off to begin with, because there we go, because I don't need them. And you can take your scissors, you can use an X-Acto knife, you can use whatever it is you use to cut up cardboard, but this is one less thing you gotta throw in the garbage, and it will look fantastic. All right, so we've cut the top flaps off. And there we have our box. Now I'm going to get my paper, and if you notice, this is Dollar Tree contact paper. And it comes, whoop, I kicked over my hot glue gun. I want to show you some other patterns it comes in. I love this one. This one is roses. And the black roses on the white paper, I think that's just beautiful with the greenery and the leaves, but it's just simple. It's very elegant looking to me. This is a gray version of the blue. I used a lot of this on my spice rack, so it's already a color in my kitchen, and it carries that blue, but I think it looks like lattice work, so I think it's going to be real pretty. This is a gray and white version of the same stuff, but we're going to use the blue and white for me. You can use whatever you like, and if you notice, it's long enough to fold over on the bottom and give us some fold over on the top, so we're going to use the entire width of it. Let's go ahead and open this up. All right, now we've got to alter this box just a little bit, and it will not be difficult. And I'm going to use a ruler, and all I'm going to do is put one corner of my ruler at the top back right here, and the other corner where it meets the other side. Okay, and then I'm going to take a pen, and it doesn't matter what pen you use because nobody's going to see this part. And I'm going to cut just like that. And then I'm going to need to cut this one, but we'll do this one in a second. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Well, first, let's go ahead and cut this side, and then I can use this side to measure, and they both come out the same. We're going to cut along that line. And the top part you can bend, you can fold, you can also use an X-Acto knife because your scissors are going to fight you. You see I'm having a little bit of a struggle there. All right. We've cut to that edge. We're going to flip that over, bend it the other way. Grab our pen, and we can just go down this side, just like we did that side. Straight enough. Whoops. I'm working on the studio, guys. I'm working on getting it where I can give you the best experience with what I got. There we go. And then we'll just fold that out of the way, and we should be able to cut straight across there. Okay? So we've cut it at an angle. You can throw away or save that cardboard or whatever you want to do to it. There we go. Now then, now we're going to wrap it up in the paper, and I'm going to let it overlap just a tad here, just like you're wrapping a present. We're using the same idea, but actually I'm going to put the seam in the back. It just happens to be that's how it laid. One thing I absolutely love about this contact paper is it comes with lines already pre-printed on it so that you can cut it straight. And we're going to cut it straight on this line right here. So you can get an absolutely straight line. Okay, and so we're done with that, and toss that aside. Now, It's helpful because this stuff comes rolled up. It's helpful to straighten it out and try, without creasing it, but to roll it the other way for a minute. That helps it straighten out a little bit and will make it easier to manage. Okay. There we go. Now then. See, it's a little bit straighter now. And our line is going to go on our back side like this. And cross in the back. So that's where that's going to go. So we're going to line this up. Whoops. I keep bumping my mic, guys. Sorry. And I'm just going to give it an overlap. That. And then I'm going to flip it and do the same thing on the other side. Like that. I'm going about 1 inch to 1.5 inches out. Whoops, I wrote on it, but that's okay because we're going to cut that off. I want plenty of room to cut that off with. Okay. And this extra, it really doesn't matter how much extra you do. Because it's going to be on the inside. And the inside's going to be cardboard. But cardboard is brown, so it fits our color scheme. And nobody's going to really look inside of it anyway. It's going to be so impressive looking. There we go. So it's easier to start this with a pokey tool. I got my pokey tools from the Dollar Tree. This is the hardest part of working with this stuff, I find, is just getting it started peeling off of the backing. Sometimes you can fold it and make a crease, and that will help loosen it up a bit. See, that worked. But we're not going to pull all the backing off at once. We're only going to pull up a couple inches at a time. And I'm going to establish is that straight? That's straight enough. Straight enough. Okay, so I've got it across my back. I'm going to fold it down now. And roll it over on that side, and notice how I'm just pulling the paper off and laying it down. The only thing is this stuff has a little bit of a strong chemical smell. So if you are sensitive to smells, you want to do this in a ventilated area with a fan. Okay, I had a few wrinkles back here on the back side, so I'm going to smooth those out. And like I said, it's just like wrapping a present. Here we go. This is how we're going to solve the bottom issue. I'm folding those two in like that, and then I'm folding this side in, and it's making little triangles there. Folding that side in, and it's made a little triangle there. We can do one of two things. We can either fold these in and glue them, or we can just cut them off because it's sealed right there on the edge. I'm just going to cut them off. But you can fold them over and glue them down or whatever, but for me, I'm lazy. So I'm just going to cut them off and roll them over with my fingers like that. And now we have a waterproof bottom, so if you set it down on a wet countertop, it's not going to soak up that water and get nasty. Now we're going to deal with the top. It's stuck to itself here. I'm going to pull that out and unstuck it. And we're going to just cut straight down. Let me show you what I'm doing here. Cut straight down to that corner and cut straight down to that corner in the front. We're going to fold over our little front panel right there. Fold it down, and then we're going to do the same thing on the back here. We're going to cut straight down on that corner, straight down on that corner right there. Sorry, I have to keep pulling it away so I can see. And then fold that in like that, and then we're going to need to angle this one like that. See how I cut off that corner right there? Fold it over and fold that in. Now, sure, you can buy these at the Dollar Tree. Sometimes they have them in the office supply department, but I figured, why buy one when I could just make one? Because I had this huge cereal box. And fold that one down like that. Let's go in here and I'm gonna push down the paper. Got a big air bubble there. And if you have air bubbles, the easiest way to deal with them is make a little pinprick and then seal them down just like that. If I'd have laid it down a little more carefully, I probably wouldn't have the air bubbles. There we go. Now we have our little box. But I'm going to go one step further because I really like the Farmhouse decor. Bought a bunch of these off of Amazon. It's the little thing. It's like a drawer pull, but it's got a little place where you can pop in a label. And if you were going to have a couple of these on your counter or in your office, these just make a nice little finishing touch, and they're fun. So I thought I would go ahead and just do some hot glue. I'm not going to put a label on it as such. I might put one inside it. So for the ease of time, I'm just hot gluing the whole thing, sticking it on there. You can use E6000, you can use hot glue, you can use whatever. I'd recommend E6000. Personally, I don't use it because I don't have a space that is ventilated well enough. I do all this in my studio, which is part of my bedroom actually, because I live in a tiny place. So, but I'm just going to hot glue that on there to give you an idea. That's how it looks. This is how it sits. And we have room for all of those manuals, papers, everything. They just sit right in here. You can sit this on your countertop. You can put it on top of your fridge. You can slide it in a cabinet. But it's one place to keep all of those papers. Maybe your emergency procedures for your home. Something that you need a central place to keep all those papers. Best place to keep them is in the kitchen because everybody, you know, and then you have a designated spot for it. Your oven manual, your cookbook that came with the food processor, the just whatever, the lunch menu from school. There you go. So that was our 2 projects today. And as I said, next week we're going to do a recap of all the projects we did. I wanted to show you, there have been, if you follow my show, I've been working on different types of cards. Last week I talked about the Walt Disney World cards. I'm about ready to release my Haunted Mansion cards. There'll be 6 to a box with coordinating envelopes. The box will be decorated. You're not going to get just a black box. I'm also going to decorate the box. The box is a little slider. Those will be coming up on my Etsy shop soon. And I hope you will come and join me. Come take a look at my Etsy shop. There's lots of nice stuff coming. There's lots of nice stuff up there. I bought some more tools that will help me make some more interesting things. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm not sure. There must be people streaming like crazy today, because I'm not even seeing my regulars. That's why I keep checking the stream to make sure that I'm actually broadcasting and it's watchable. Because the last time this happened, it wasn't watchable. Yep, it works. Alrighty, guys. I will be back on Wednesday morning at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, and we will do some live music composing, music production with my digital audio workstation. And then next Sunday, I will be back. We will do a wrap-up of the kitchen DIYs. If you missed last week, you missed this cute little scale that I made. Isn't that adorable? And we will be moving into coastal farmhouse living rooms. So make sure that you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you get notifications when I go live. Also, if you're watching the replay, thank you so much. I love my replay viewers. I do live videos because I don't like editing. So, and I know that Sunday's a busy day. There's a lot of people streaming, so you can't watch everybody you want to watch. So I really enjoy my replay viewers. Thank you so much. Speaking of replays, if you check out my Twitter, if you're engaged in my social media, check out my Twitter. I put up a link to my friend Metalhead Hippie's show. He goes live, I think, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays with independent music, unsigned artists, with new music that's never been released, original music. And he has all types of music too. It isn't just metal. Be sure and go over and check out his channel, and I'm sure you'll hear something you like, and tell him Pearl sent you. And yeah, so that's all I got for you this week. Peace and blessings upon you, upon all you love, upon all who love you. Find your passion, grab a hold of it, and don't let it go. I got some exciting things coming up here in the next couple months. I hope you're with me for the journey. Have a great week, and I will see you around the internet. Bye-bye.